Hey kids, welcome to the Town of Okotoks online presentation about pollinators. Today we're going to learn about what pollinators are, what they do, and how we can help them out. So what are pollinators and what is pollination? Pollination is an important part of the life cycle of many plants. Pollination allows plants to reproduce, which means making fruit and seeds that make new plants. It happens when pollen moves from one part of a flower to another. Pollen is usually yellow in color and in the middle of the flower. Have you seen pollen on a flower before? When pollen is moved around from flower to flower, it fertilizes the flowers and creates fruit and seeds. Pollinators are insects like bees and butterflies, or animals like hummingbirds and bats that move pollen from one plant to the next. The pollinators are eating the nectar from the plants and just happen to pollinate the plants in the process. What do most of the foods you see in this picture have in common? If you were thinking that they all depend on pollinators to grow into a fruit or a seed, you would be right. People and animals eat the seeds and the fruit that grow from many different plants, all because of the help of pollinators. Which foods do you eat that need pollinators in order to allow them to grow into fruit and seeds? Well, let me tell you about a few that I thought of. Apples, cherries, carrots, tomatoes, avocados, cucumbers, strawberries, and even almonds, just to name a few of them. Did you know that there are actually thousands of plants on our planet that need to be pollinated in order to grow fruit and seeds? There are around 200,000 different types of animals around the world that are pollinators. That's a lot. What types of pollinators have you seen in your yard? A few of the common ones in Alberta are bees, wasps, flies, butterflies and moths, beetles, hummingbirds, bats, and even ants. Can you guess which pollinator is best at its job? If you said bees, you were right. Now, why do you think bees are the best at pollinating? Well, bees are the best because most bees, especially bumblebees, have fuzzy bodies. The pollen from the flower sticks to the fuzzy bee and gets put on other flowers as the bee flies around looking for food. Bees are also the best pollinators because their main food source is nectar from flowers. Unlike other animals, they are constantly pollinating as they look for food. Did you know that in Alberta we have over 300 types of bees that have always lived here? We call them native bees. Some of them don't even look like what you would think a bee should look like. So honeybees are not native to Canada and are actually from Europe. People from Europe brought honeybees here over 300 years ago. Our Alberta bees are actually in a little bit of trouble. Why are bees at risk? Well, when people use pesticides on their plants to kill annoying bugs, they are also hurting the good insects like bees. Pesticides are chemicals used to kill pesky bugs that eat plants people don't want them to. Also, as towns and cities get bigger, houses and stores take over land that the bees used to live on. The bees also used to get their food from this land, but now it's covered in buildings, cement, and grass, taking away spaces where food-giving plants like wildflowers, bushes, and trees used to grow. Another problem for our native bees is actually honeybees. Scientists have found that when honeybee hives are allowed within towns and cities, the honeybees eat a lot of the food that our Alberta native bees need to eat. The good news is that you can help all pollinators have a great place to live and eat in your own yard. How can you help the bees and other pollinators? The first thing you can do is to plant lots of flowers, flowering shrubs, and flowering trees that pollinators love. There are many flowers that have always grown in Alberta that pollinators love to eat from. Try and plant a variety of them so that there are always some kind of flowers blooming from spring until the fall. You will be able to find a bee-friendly plant list on the town's Education Resources webpage. Another thing that you can do to help out Alberta's pollinators, specifically the bees, is to have a slightly messy yard. That's right. You can tell your mom and dad that bees and other insects like to make their homes or lay their eggs in things like old logs, dead plant stems, and bare ground. Pollinators also love to get food from some of our first flowers that are out in the springtime, dandelions and clover. Thanks so much for listening to this presentation on pollinators. Please check out the links on the website to the activities like growing your own flowers at home and building a bumblebee nesting house. I hope you have some fun making your yard a great place for Alberta's pollinators. Happy learning!